India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to expand Gaza operations in the coming days, says war is not close to finished. On a visit to Moscow, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar discusses connectivity, multilateralism, regional conflicts with leading representatives of Russian strategic community. Indian Navy deploys major warships to counter attacks in Arabian Sea. MV Camp Pluto arrives in Mumbai. Navy says debris points to drone attack. Joint probe underway. And in cricket, India to play its first test in 5 months against South Africa at Centurion on Tuesday. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to continue fighting against terror group Hamas until the end. Netanyahu, accompanied by Deputy Chief of Staff Major General Amir Baram, spoke with soldiers and commanders in northern Gaza on Monday. Interacting with the soldiers, Netanyahu said the war was far from over and dismissed what he cast as media speculation that his government might call a halt to the fighting.
Whoever talks about stopping, there is no such thing. We are not stopping. The war will continue until the end. October 7th is not over. It is not over. We have to make sure that it never happens again. This requires what each and every one of you is asking for, just to continue until the end. Until the end. And I'm just proud of your determination. It's not easy. On the other hand, it is easy, simply to continue to the end. I salute you like this.
The families of Hamas hostages gathered at the main gate of Israeli Defense Ministry complex in Tel Aviv on Monday, waiting for security cabinet ministers in the hope of stopping their vehicles and pleading with them for help for their loved ones. The protesters laid out hourglasses, inferring that time is running out for each of the hostages still in Hamas captivity. Israeli agency Kogat reported that 218 trucks loaded with humanitarian aid for the people of Gaza were inspected and transferred to the Gaza Strip on Monday. Of these, 142 trucks were inspected at Nitzana crossing and transferred to Gaza via the Rafah crossing in the Egyptian territory. 76 of the trucks were inspected and transferred to Gaza via the recently opened Kerem Shalom crossing, which is located in the corner where the Egyptian, Israeli and Gazan borders meet. Kogat also reported that 80,000 vaccines for measles, mumps and rubella donated by UNICEF arrived in the Gaza Strip on Sunday. Hitting on the terror group Hamas, the Japanese government will freeze assets and impose sanctions on payments and capital transactions on 3 senior Hamas members. Now, according to a Japanese government spokesperson, the 3 individuals were believed to be involved in the October 7th attack by Hamas on Israel and in a position to use funds to finance such terrorist activities. Meanwhile, an Israeli airstrike outside the Syrian capital Damascus on Monday killed a senior advisor in Iran's Revolutionary Guards. According to sources, the advisor, known as Saeed Razi Mousavi, was responsible for coordinating the military alliance between Syria and Iran. Iran's state television interrupted as its irregular news broadcast to announce that Mousavi had been killed, describing him as one of the Guard's oldest advisors in Syria. It said that he had been among those accompanying Qasem Soleimani, the head of Guard's elite Quds force, who was killed in a U.S. drone attack in Iraq in 2020. Turkey intensified its airstrikes against Kurdish groups in Syria and northern Iraq in retaliation for the deaths of 12 Turkish soldiers in Iraq over the weekend. The Turkish Defense Ministry said in a statement late on Monday that it had killed at least 26 militants in the strikes. Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces say in northeast Syria, at least 8 civilians were killed in the Turkish airstrikes on Monday, including 2 women. Turkey has carried out 128 strikes in northeast Syria in 2023, killing 94 people, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Let's get to updates from Russia-Ukraine conflict now. A text of a draft law posted on the website of Ukraine's parliament late on Monday proposed lowering the age of those who can be mobilized for combat duty from 25 to 27. The draft text detailed which Ukrainian citizens would be subject to enrollment for military registration of conscripts and said it would apply to those who have reached the age of 25. The proposed change comes as Ukraine's 22-month-old battle against Russia drags on. On Sunday, Ukraine and Russia exchanged claims over downed military aircraft. And on Monday, Ukraine denied Russia's claim that its forces had seized the regional center Marinka in eastern Ukraine. An explanatory note signed by Defense Minister summarized the key provisions of the draft law, saying they included the change of conscription age from 27 to 25 years. President Zelensky told his end-of-the-year news conference on December 19th that the military had proposed mobilizing 450,000 to 500,000 more Ukrainians, but that it was hugely and highly sensitive issue that the military and government would discuss before deciding whether to send the proposal to Parliament. Meanwhile, Ukraine's government has proposed to Parliament terminating a free trade agreement with Belarus. Ukraine's cabinet minister has said the move to cancel the agreement was taken in connection with a fundamental change of circumstances, involvement of the Republic of Belarus in the illegal use of force against Ukraine. The government proposes terminating the free trade agreement of December 1992 and 2 protocols related to the treaty. After Russia's invasion, Ukraine suspended its trade relations with Minsk. Under the Ukrainian law, interstate agreements must be terminated by Parliament. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Belarus remained one of Ukraine's main trading partners, supplying significant amount of fuel and fertilizers to Kyiv. Ukraine carried out an attack on Feodosia in Crimea early on Tuesday, resulting in a fire in the town's port area. Footage posted on several Russian news outlets on Telegram showed powerful explosions and fire over a port area. There was no immediate official confirmation or information on this from Russia. Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine in a broadly condemned move in 2014. In Serbia, several thousand people gathered in front of the Central Election Commission building in Belgrade to protest over an election earlier this month that international monitors said was unfair. The protesters marched to the main police station where they believed those detained by police were being held. "38 people had been detained during and after an opposition protest over election results. The opposition parties accused police of excessive force and of policemen beating up men in streets near the town hall. Serbia's ally Russia said foreign-backed forces were trying to foment trouble. Serbia has resisted pressure from Western countries to introduce sanctions against Russia. The Kremlin said that foreign-backed forces were trying to foment unrest in Serbia over parliamentary and local elections. This comes after thousands gathered in the center of Belgrade in an anti-government protest to demand the annulment of elections a week ago that international observers said were unfair.
Besides, there are obvious processes and attempts of third-party forces, including foreign-backed forces, to provoke unrest in Belgrade. That is what we see. We have no doubt authorities of Republic will provide legitimacy in the country.
Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been tracked down to a penal colony north of the Arctic Circle after supporters lost touch with him for more than 2 weeks. Navalny's spokeswoman, Kira Yarmish, said Navalny was now in the IK-3 penal colony in Kharp in Yamal-Nenets region. Yarmish said it will now be even harder for lawyers to meet him in his new home, known as the Polar Wolf Colony, considered to be one of the toughest prisons in Russia. Iran has denied a U.S. claim that a drone launched from Iran had struck a chemical tanker in the Indian Ocean. The Pentagon said that Liberia-flagged, Japanese-owned and Netherlands-operated Camp Pluto ship was hit 200 nautical miles off the coast of India. Responding to a question about the attack, a spokesperson for Iran's foreign ministry said that the U.S. accusation is baseless. This reaction comes a day after the Pentagon said that a drone launched from Iran had struck the vessel in the Indian Ocean. There were no casualties as a result of the attack, and a brief fire on board the tanker was extinguished. Let's turn focus to Africa now. In Nigeria, in a well-coordinated weekend, attacks on the weekend, in fact, the armed groups in Nigeria have in the attacks, in fact, around 113 people have been reported dead. Also, in the worst outbreak since May this year, the death toll, which was 16 till Sunday, has crossed 100. And according to a local official, in a series of attacks throughout the country, the immediate cause is yet to be ascertained. But the major reason is the persisting religious and ethnic tensions. Official figures claim more than 300 people are injured in a planned attack that has targeted more than 20 communities across the region. Vote counting continues in the Democratic Republic of Congo after episodes of irregularity reported in the general elections held on December 20th. Some 44 million voters in the DRC were registered to elect a new president. Members of the National Assembly and also provincial assemblies, as well as municipal councils on December 20th. But the Independent National Electoral Commission, the electoral body, extended the polling, acknowledging that some polling stations failed to open due to logistics problems that led to major balloting delays across the country. Full provisional election results are expected on December 31st. Migrants in the south of Mexico made their way through the state of Chiapas after setting off in a U.S.-bound caravan. The group, which included citizens of Central America and the Caribbean, walked on the side of the roads to the town of Huijia. Some carried children in their arms to avoid being left behind. Authorities had estimated that the average number of people per day was around 8,000. Top U.S. officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Homeland Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas, will visit Mexico on Wednesday as the Mexican government pledged to help the United States cope with a record number of people trying to reach the border. The China Maritime Safety Administration issued a navigation warning early on Tuesday for rocket remnants expected to hit some parts of the South China Sea between 300 GMT and 400 GMT. More details are awaited. We're heading for a short break on DD India News Hour, but after the break, addressing objective to prevent the Move Forward Party from trying to amend the Lise-Majeste law, Thailand's Constitutional Court hears a petition filed against the party and its former leader, Pita Limjo Ronrat. We will give you a weather update around the world ahead. Festivities in the air. We'll show you glimpses of Christmas celebrations at many places.
Welcome to Jaipur. Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour and I'm Preeti. Let's get you more international updates. Thailand's Constitutional Court held a hearing to consider a petition filed against the Move Forward Party and its former leader, Pita Limjaroenrat. It claimed that the election pledge to amend Section 112 of the Criminal Code or the lèse-majesté law is tantamount to an attempt to overthrow the country's constitutional monarchy. The petitioner claims that his objective is to prevent the Move Forward Party from trying to amend the lèse-majesté law, which may destabilize the monarchy, adding that if the court rules that his petition is justified and orders the party to stop its attempts to amend the law, it will be the responsibility of the Election Commission to dissolve the party. The next hearing is expected at the end of January or early February next year. In a first, a Hindu woman in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's Pune district has filed her nomination papers for a general seat in the upcoming polls in Pakistan. Savira Prakash has officially submitted her nomination papers for the general seat of PK25 in Pune district. General elections are scheduled to be held in Pakistan on 8th February to elect the members of the 16th National Assembly. A member of the Hindu community, Prakash is optimistic about contesting the election on a Pakistan People's Party ticket following the footsteps of her father, Om Prakash, a recently retired doctor. Pakistan's Tehreek-e-Insaf Party has said that it will challenge the Election Commission's decision to declare its intra-party polls as unconstitutional and revoke the iconic cricket band symbol in the Peshawar High Court. The Election Commission of Pakistan last week rejected the organizational elections of Imran Khan's party and its plea to have a cricket bat as the electoral symbol for general elections. The Election Commission declared the party ineligible to obtain an election symbol to contest the upcoming general elections on 8th February next year. China's capital, Beijing, has set a record for hours of sub-zero temperatures in December, dating back to 1951. The cold wave caused blizzards and temperatures to reach historic lows, with some areas hitting minus 40 degrees Celsius. Beijing has recorded over 300 hours of below freezing temperatures, the most for the month since 1951. The capital has also experienced 9 consecutive days of temperatures below minus 10 degrees Celsius. A whiteout landscape was created in Grenfell, New South Wales, Australia on Christmas Day due to hailstones and heavy rainfall. Weather authorities reported large-sized hailstones over 5 centimeters falling in the same region. A resident reported damage to car windscreens and solar panels on his rooftop. In a major breakthrough, a hospital in Tokyo has, for the first time in Japan, started administering a new drug to treat Alzheimer's disease. Lecanemab, who is jointly developed by Japanese pharmaceutical firm Eisai and its US partner Biogen. The drug is designed to slow the progression of the disease by reducing the accumulation of the amyloid beta protein in the brain. The drug has become eligible for coverage under the public health insurance system. The drug is designed for people with mild cognitive impairment who have not yet developed full dementia and those with early onset of dementia. Boxing Day 2023 will be celebrated in many parts of the world today. Boxing Day is a public holiday celebrated in Great Britain and some Commonwealth countries, including Canada, Australia and New Zealand. Boxing Day refers to the tradition of rich families preparing boxes filled with gifts and presents for the poor people. The day helps in understanding the benefits of sharing and caring. Boxing Day also creates a sense of community and understanding. President Ranil Wickremesinghe of Sri Lanka has granted amnesty to more than 1,000 convicts and released them from jails across the country to mark Christmas. Among the 1,004 freed on Monday were Sri Lankans jailed for not being able to pay outstanding fines. Amid a standoff between China and the Philippines in the West Philippine Sea, Beijing said that it will not weaken its resolve to protect its territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests. A spokesperson of China's foreign ministry, Mao Ning, said that China was ready to work with the Philippines to properly handle maritime issues through negotiation and consultation. The remarks followed a commentary published by Chinese state media on Monday, which said that the Philippines had relied on U.S. support to continually provoke China with such behavior, seriously harming regional peace and stability. Up next, we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world. A Bavarian town in Germany was flooded on Christmas Day due to heavy rainfall, causing the river Nab to burst its banks. Emergency services secured boats, property and pumping water out of the cellars. The river's water level rose above 3 meters and is expected to exceed 4 meters in the evening before receding. Residents in Tehran embraced the Christmas festivities, with many hoping for peace in the world amid various geopolitical conflicts. Although the Christmas holiday is not officially celebrated in Iran, the recent footage showed increase in festive decorations in the predominantly Muslim country. Shops in Tehran and Isfahan city were seen loaded with festive treats, Christmas trees and Santa dolls. In the U.S., Nebraska residents experienced a white Christmas after a winter storm brought freezing rain and snow, causing blizzard conditions from central South Dakota into the state. The National Weather Service expects wind gusts of 35 miles per hour and additional snowfall of up to an inch, warning residents that snow could reduce visibility and cause road whiteouts. London's top architects are constructing a futuristic gingerbread city in the annual 2023 Gingerbread City competition. Over 50 architects, designers and engineers will use cooking ingredients to create a tiny city focusing on water and its use. The event runs from December 2nd to January 7th. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Adding another feather to its cap, Indian Navy is all set to commission its latest stealth-guided missile destroyer, Imphal, today. A temple in southern Indian district of Kozhikode has been selected for UNESCO's Asia-Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation. The largest ever outreach by the Indian government, Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra, is continuing in various parts of the country.
Always welcoming. The vibe of Punjab is larger than life. Warm up to grandeur that's beyond compare. and history that's dotted with tales of bravery. Smiling soul of India, where music, art, cuisine and culture comes together to create an unforgettable impression. Punjab is all set to win your hearts with its unique and colorful extravaganza.
Year 2023 can best be described as an year filled with excitement, challenges and accomplishments in the world of sports, both for India and the world. All this and lots more in our special Sports at the Rate 2023 flashback in our program called Game Changers.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you more international updates. Or before that, we'll get you a quick recap of the top stories once again. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to expand Gaza operations in the coming days, says war isn't close to finished. On a visit to Moscow, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar discusses connectivity, multilateralism, regional conflicts with leading representatives of Russian strategic community. Indian Navy deploys major warships to counter attacks in Arabian Sea. MV Camp Pluto arrives in Mumbai. Navy says debris points to drone attack. Joint probe underway. And in cricket, India to play its first test in 5 months against South Africa at Centurion on Tuesday. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a visit to Russia, held a meeting with leading representatives of the Russian strategic community in Moscow on Monday. He spoke about the importance of rebalancing and the emergence of multipolarity, and also discussed connectivity, multilateralism, big power competition and regional conflicts. Keeping India-Russia ties on a positive trajectory, he also highlighted the importance of geopolitics and strategic convergence. Up next, we take a look at the update on India-bound merchant vessel MV Camp Pluto, saying that its preliminary assessment pointed to a drone attack on the India-bound merchant vessel MV Camp Pluto, which arrived in Mumbai on Monday afternoon. The Indian Navy announced the deployment of guided missile destroyers to maintain a deterrent presence in view of the recent attacks in the Arabian Sea. A charter plane carrying around 300 passengers, primarily Indians, that had been grounded in France for 4 days has finally arrived in the western Indian city of Mumbai. The Nicaragua-bound flight, operated by a Romanian company, was detained at Vatry Airport near France. The plane eventually departed from Vatry Airport around 2:30 p.m. local time and landed in Mumbai shortly after 4 a.m. on Tuesday. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across the country with the aim to attain saturation of flagship schemes of the government through ensuring that the benefits of these schemes reach all the targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The chairperson of Haryana Land Reclamation and Development Corporation, Jagdish Nair, attended the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra in Palwal city of the Indian state of Haryana as the chief guest. He spoke about Prime Minister Modi's efforts to strengthen India economically through the means of Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra. The Yatra vans also made the public aware of national government schemes and the benefits among the public. Adding another pride in the nation's roots, Indian Navy is all set to commission its latest stealth-guided missile destroyer, Imphal, at the Naval Dockyard in the western part of the country, Mumbai. Imphal is a cutting-edge warship designed by Indian Navy's Warship Design Bureau and constructed by Mazagaon Dock Limited. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will grace the ceremony. India reported a total of 63 cases of COVID-19 subvariant JN1, with Goa reporting the highest number of cases at 34, followed by Maharashtra at 9, and 8 from Karnataka, 6 from Kerala, 4 from Tamil Nadu, and 2 from Telangana. Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul said last week that the scientific community in India is closely investigating the new subvariant and stressed on the need for states to ramp up testing and strengthen their surveillance systems. India's defence minister is likely to undertake a day-long visit to northern part of the country, Jammu, on December 27th. During his visit, defence minister will hold a series of meetings with top-ranking army officers at 16 Corps, emphasising on strategic discussions of national security. The minister will also preside over a security review meeting at Raj Bhavan in Jammu. Meanwhile, Indian Army Chief General Manoj Pandey visited Jammu to review the situation on the ground in Rajouri-Poonch sector in the aftermath of the recent terror attack. The Karnikara Mandapam of Kunamangalam Bhagavati Temple in Kozhikode has been selected for UNESCO's Asia-Pacific Award for Cultural Heritage Conservation. The Karnataka Mandapam, that is the semi-open hall, has been reconstructed in recent years without losing its originality, the very reason for it to get the UNESCO recognition. The award is for sustainable development for its transformative heritage practices. The 1,100-year-old temple has been renovated according to Tachu Shastra's judgment without losing the heritage. The support of Archival and Research Project, an organization working for the preservation of the architectural heritage of Kerala, provided major help. Dr. Abida Puthuseri, member of the Temple Management Committee, talks more about the temple and the renovation work.
Kozhikode Karunur Kundamangalam Sri Bhagavati Kshetram, about 1,000 years old temple. Recently we got a UNESCO award 2023. This award is mainly for the conservation of the tradition and also the sustainable development. Here the award is for our revival of the Karnikara Mandapam. Normally the Karnikara Mandapam is made with 4 pillars, but here it is very rare. It is made with 16 pillars with a wood called venga, and here we completed this work within 2.5 months.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in the Veer Bal Divas function at Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi today. On the occasion, Prime Minister Modi will flag off a march past by youth in Delhi. The Veer Bal Divas marks the martyrdom of Shri Guru Gobind Singh Ji's sons, Sahibzadas Baba Zorawar Singh and Baba Fateh Singh. The Prime Minister last year had announced that 26 December will be observed as Veer Bal Divas. Let's take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. A raging fire engulfed Kulu's Patli Kohal forest in Himachal Pradesh, as captured in a video depicting towering flames devastating the woodland. Tourists flock Shimla, the state capital on Indian hill state of Himachal Pradesh, for winter carnival, the city's first ever, running for the week until January 5th, aiming at reviving tourism and boosting the charm of Queen of the Hills. Several cities across northern India were shrouded in a thick layer of fog since yesterday. Streets in Srinagar, Amritsar and capital New Delhi have had heavily reduced visibility. In an update on social media platform X, the Indian Meteorological Department said that dense fog was likely to persist over parts of northwest and central India over the next 3 to 4 days. Preparations are in full stage and the final stage for the inauguration of Ram Temple at Ayodhya in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh ahead of Pran Pratishtha Mahotsav, or the Dignity of Life Festival at Ayodhya. Shri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirath Kendra Trust released photos showing the current status of Shri Ram Janmabhoomi Temple construction work. The grand inauguration is scheduled to take place on January 22nd. With the date of consecration of the much-awaited Ram Mandir approaching close, devotees and artists are exhibiting their devotion and excitement in various ways. Carpenters in Ayodhya carved out wooden replicas of Ram Temple to show their enthusiasm. Kankarya Carnival 2023 kicked off in the western Indian city of Ahmedabad with a dazzling laser show. The show was part of the annual week-long festival at Kankarya Lake with diverse events like fireworks, lighting shows and local celebrity performances featuring a laser show themed Viksit Bharat Sankalp. Moving on, India's actions against climate change, its concrete, result-oriented efforts have paved the way for using artificial intelligence to build climate models that would help in improving weather forecasting. Take a look at this report.
Extreme weather events have killed nearly 3,000 people this year. Global warming has triggered more intense clashes of weather systems in India in recent years, leading to increase in extreme weather conditions. India's Met Department has been utilizing artificial intelligence for public alerts on heat waves and diseases like malaria, and plans to expand weather observatories, which will offer data at the village level for potentially more precise forecasts. Renewed focus on gathering high-resolution data and incorporating AI into traditional models will aid emerging technologies that will help achieve its sustainable development goals. AI-based systems can predict harsh impacts of climate change and events with higher levels of accuracy by giving accurate data to predict events such as rise in sea levels, cyclones, storms, less or more rainfall, even glacial outbursts. While technological evolution continues to aid regular efforts to achieve net zero emissions, climate tech investments could see a significant rise in the future. Bureau Report, DD India.
The Similipal Tiger Reserve in the eastern Indian state of Odisha is a haven for the big cats. 16 tigers have been documented there. 10 of those adorned the distinctive dark stripe pattern of the black tigers. Take a look at this report.
In the heart of Odisha's Simipal Tiger Reserve, a rare phenomenon unfolds. The elusive black tigers. Revealed in the latest report to Parliament, only 10 of these majestic melanistic tigers exist in the entire nation. Minister Ashwani Kumar Chaubey states that Simipal is the exclusive haven with 16 tigers documented, 10 adorned with a dark strip. The 2022 Pan-India Tiger Estimation Exercise unveils this captivating secret. Melanism, a result of the heightened melanin levels, gives these creatures an ethereal allure. The Ministry of Environment emphasizes their conservation commitment, while the National Tiger Conservation Authority issues a strategic directive for the rehabilitation of these mesmerizing beings. Financial support is extended through the ongoing centrally sponsored scheme of integrated development of wildlife habitats to the Simipal Tiger Reserve. This funding is allocated for a spectrum of conservation initiatives, including the safeguarding of tigers, fostering awareness regarding tiger and wildlife conservation, habitat management, protection measures, eco-development, human resource and infrastructure development. These resources play a crucial role in sustaining the delicate balance of Simipal's ecosystem, encompassing voluntary village relocation and a holistic approach to wildlife preservation. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
We're heading for a short break on DD India News Hour, but when we come back, we'll get you more updates to regulate the South American country's economy. Argentina Congress to hold special session over economic reforms. Amid Christmas holidays and limited global queues, Asian markets keep flat, though India expected to open in the green. India to play its first test in 5 months against South Africa at Centurion on Tuesday.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Meghalaya, the abode of clouds. A land so enchanting. It makes time stand still. With a distinctive and ethnic culture. And vibrant tribal folklore. Filled with the goodness of nature. Every day here is an adventure. Home to music, passion, and to hopes and ambitions. Welcome to the magical land of Meghalaya.
Welcome to Mahabalipuram, a coastal town full of delight, where history, art and natural beauty unite. Explore this sacred ground, where spirituality and divinity are closely bound. Stroll along the sandy shore.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you more international updates. Argentina will hold an emergency session of parliament beginning Tuesday to address a package of reforms by President Javier Milei. The special session from December 26th to January 31st is being held following a week of protests by labor unions, tenant groups and leftist organizations against the reforms contained in a presidential decree that needs an endorsement by legislators. Milei last week proposed more than 300 measures to deregulate the South American country's economy, including eliminating price controls and bureaucracy to help promote industrial activity. Bank of Japan Governor Ueda Kazuo says the spring labor management wage negotiations will be key to realizing a 2% inflation rate. Addressing the Japan Business Federation on Monday, Ueda said that Japan is emerging from the low inflation environment it has faced over the past 25 years, and it is gradually becoming more likely that a sustainable and stable 2% inflation rate can be attained, adding that the companies need to take active steps to achieve the objective of price stability. Ueda indicated that the bank will consider a potential shift in policy, such as easing its negative interest rate policy after checking the wage hike next year. Asian stocks held ground at Tuesday opening, showing minimal movement amid limited global cues and a subdued global market scenario due to Christmas holiday closures. Japan's Nikkei was flat at 33,245, while Topix eased 0.1%. South Korea's Kospi was also flat at 2,600, and the Kosdaq index declined 0.25%. Markets in Hong Kong, Indonesia, Australia and New Zealand are closed for public holidays. The Indian equity market indices, which ended higher on Friday, are expected to open on a positive note amid mixed global market cues and prevailing optimism of deep interest rate cuts. The Sensex on Friday surged 241.86 points or 0.34% to close at 71,106, while the Nifty 50 settled at 94.35 points higher at 21,349. Meanwhile, oil prices stabilized after a significant weekly surge, focusing on potential disruptions in the Red Sea from recent Houthi attacks on vessels. Crude oil posted the biggest gain last week since October, as attacks in the Red Sea forced hundreds of ships to take safer but longer routes, delaying the delivery of oil cargoes. Oil prices also eased on expectations that Angola could increase oil output after leaving the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, or the OPEC, but rose for the week on positive U.S. economic news and worries that Houthi ships' attacks would boost supply costs. Brent futures fell 32% or 0.4% to settle at $79.07 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell 33 cents or 0.5% to settle at $73.56. Now, this left both the benchmarks up about 3% for the week after gaining less than 1% last week. The International Monetary Fund has hailed India's growth story. It said that the country's economy is projected to grow at 6.3% in the current fiscal and the next. It noted that India's digital public infrastructure and strong government infrastructure program will continue to sustain its growth. DD India's Mihir Mekhuri reports from New Delhi.
India is all set to become the world's third largest economy by 2030. Some experts even say it can happen early also. The International Monetary Fund, in its Article 4 consultation report, praised Indian authorities for the country's economic resilience and growth amid global challenges.
We think that we will do even better than what the IMF thinks. Now, what is driving this growth? Well, a lot of factors are driving this growth. The services sector is doing reasonably well, but there has been a significant acceleration of the industrial sector recently, which you may be aware of. And also a lot of investment that is happening. So, of course, government investment, but we are also now seeing a significant amount of corporate investment and household investment also coming through.
In its report, the IMF noted that India has emerged as a star performer, projected to contribute 16% to global growth. India's economy has rebounded strongly from the pandemic to become an important driver of global growth. India is on track to become one of the fastest growing major economies in the world this year, underpinned by prudent macroeconomic policies. IMF credited India's digital public infrastructure and strong government infrastructure push for sustained growth. It also praised India's near-term fiscal policy and RBI's proactive monetary policy actions. The Indian economy will grow 6.3% in financial year 2024 and financial year 2025 on the back of macroeconomic and financial stability. Inflation has moderated after a brief surge in summer driven by vegetable prices. Core inflation is projected to ease to 4.7% in financial year 2023 to 2024 from 6.1% in previous year and to converge gradually to 4% over medium term. IMF agreed that RBI's current neutral monetary policy stance is appropriate to gradually bring inflation back on target. Employment has surpassed pre-pandemic level, and while informal sector continues to dominate, formalization has progressed.
I think India is already the driver of growth. The country is ready for a big leap. My own feeling is 8% growth is easily doable, but we can achieve 9% if the private sector joins us. Given that we are growing at this strong pace, which is the wide gap between where we are growing and the rest of the world is struggling to grow, there's stuttering growth everywhere, India is galloping ahead. This wide gap that we have easily would position India in a very polar position.
Following the release of the latest IMF report, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, and I quote, "India's rapid economic growth is not only helping its citizens, but is also helping the global economy." John Thomas Chambers, the former executive chairman and CEO of Cisco Systems, said on X, and I quote, that India will become #1 economy. Meanwhile, rising tax revenue in India indicates strong economic growth for the nation. Gross direct tax collections for financial year 2023 to 2024 registered a growth of 17.01%. Net direct tax collections for financial year 2023 to 2024 grew at over 20.66%. Advanced tax collections for the financial year 2023 to 2024 showed growth of 19.94%. The Indian economy is growing faster than any major economy and is becoming a top investment destination. This is likely to crowd in more investment and create more jobs over the coming years.
We get a lot of support from the government in the forms of policy making. So, for example, the whole digitalization, the build-up of infrastructure, there are improvements on taxation that is really making ease of business, and that we have seen now over the past years when we have been operating. We are taking the learnings and we are in a phase of planning for the next. India is a growth market and a very important market for IKEA.
The government's massive spending on infrastructure has given a huge boost to the growth potential. Mihir Makuri reporting for DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. Now we'll get you updates from the world of sports. Let's talk of cricket first. India will play their first test in 5 months against South Africa at Centurion on Tuesday. Virat Kohli is back in the Indian squad, but lack of practice could be a concern for the team. Here's a preview of the match.
Team India is all set to face Team South Africa in 2-match test series that will take place in Centurion. The first test will be played on the Boxing Day, and in much relief for Team India, Virat Kohli is back in the squad. With sharp focus on 2025 WTC final, Team India is mentally moving away from the World Cup heartbreak and practicing hard to beat South Africa in their home ground. However, the head-to-head tells a different story between the two. In tests, South Africa leads the overall head-to-head record against India with 17 wins and 15 defeats in 42 matches. South Africa also recorded a 2-1 series win when both teams last clashed against each other 2 years ago. Whereas at home, South Africa have a stunning record against the Indian team with 12 wins in 23 test matches and have suffered only 4 defeats so far. India's last test win in South Africa came in during the Boxing Day clash in 2021 under Virat Kohli's captaincy. However, when we talk about Team South Africa's current form, then this South African side lack experience and quality with bat and ball, and their top 6 in particular can be brittle. They can also face late fitness tests for key fast bowlers Kagiso Rabada and Lungi Ngidi, who could be handful on what is expected to be a lively Centurion Park pitch in the first test. The man to be in the spotlight is outgoing batter Dean Elgar, who will be playing the last 2 tests of his career. He is one of only 3 South African batters with an average of more than 30. with Team India coming on the test field to play their first red ball game in 5 months. Rohit Sharma-led team will have a new challenge in front of themselves.
India's Women's Selection Committee has announced squad for the upcoming 3 ODIs and 3 T20 internationals against Australia. The 3-match ODI series will be played at Wankhede Stadium on 28th of December. The next 2 ODIs will be played on 30th December and 2nd January. The action will then shift to D.Y. Patil Stadium, Navi Mumbai, which will host the 3 T20 internationals on 5th, 7th and 9th January. The ODI and T20 international squad will be led by Harmanpreet Kaur, whereas Smriti Mandhana will be the vice-captain for both the formats. Harleen Deol gets a place in the ODI squad, whereas Kanika Ahuja and Minu Mani would be part of the T20 international squad against the Australian women. That's it in this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Preeti Kaur signing on from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.